If you were to bite off a kneecap, how would it look?
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I am joined today by Terry Foster. What's up, Terry?
No, it's just good to be here with the Atomic Dog. It's the first time
I think it's our first time ever, being on a show together. This is going to be interesting.
Management, just to let you know, management sent me here to calm you down a little bit.
I don't know.
That's what they said. Said, T, go in there and get the Atomic Dog from a 100 to like a 90.
I tried, man. I tried bringing it down even 20%, and then somebody says something ignorant or stupid,
right?
And then that's it.
You're not allowed to talk about the Lions today, then.
Oh, well,
sorry.
Speaking of the Lions, that's the first thing we're going to talk about. Kennedy, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. I'm a little tired, but I'm very excited that Terry's here because I'm interested to see if you'll talk to him the same way you talk to Jeff, because you just can't disrespect the legend Terry Foster like that.
It's not disrespectful.
I know,
we're gonna have
but
a very good conversation today. Everything's gonna be
Terry,
great.
do you feel a little nervous up there?
I am not nervous at all.
Because you can take Adham.
Whatever he brings, I'm ready for it.
That's right.
All right, well, I guess we just get it started then. So the Lions, from what I've gathered from Dan Campbell, are going to be a game management type of offense. So, Terry, what are your expectations for the offense this season?
I have no expectations for the offense. I think their whole thing is not to turn the ball over. They're going to be conservative and boring. You cannot win this way in the National Football League. Maybe in college, maybe you can get away with it in the Big Ten Conference or the Mid-American Conference, but you can't do this in the NFL. You got to be able to throw the ball down the field and have playmakers make plays. I remember Wayne Fonts, when he was here, they had a decent team, but he kept saying, we got to make plays. We need playmakers. And this team doesn't have playmakers.
I mean, everybody is kind of on the Kansas City Chiefs bandwagon right now, right? But you go look at Buffalo. Prior to them being in the AFC Championship game, what'd they do in the offseason? They went and got Stephon Diggs, a deep threat, somebody that can beat you 1-2 plays a game that's just going to get you a guaranteed 14 points.
Even if you don't get that deep threat, the threat of the deep threat
changes everything.
Yes.
So right now you're going to line up this season with Hawkinson. He's going to get doubled the whole entire game. Nobody's scared of Tyrell Williams. No one's scared of Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're not going to respect Cephas. You can't even respect the run game because DeAndre Swift might not even be healthy.
Right.
So.
And the offensive line got off to a rough start.
Plus, I hate the word game management. Every team game manages.
You can't run the I formation or the wishbone in the NFL.
Kennedy, me and Terry kind of feel the same way. This is old school. I hate people saying we're going to be game managers. Every team plays game management. You're trying to control the clock. You're trying to limit turnovers. You're trying to force opponent turnovers. And you're trying to score points. That's essentially game management. The Lions are telling you, we suck on offense. But that's that. What else did the Lions tell us yesterday, Kennedy?
Well, our girl Sheila let us know that Don was an all-time Lion great. Our 40-year-old that got cut on his B-Day. What do you guys think about that? Was he a great?
Terry, I'll let you start with that.
That's very, very sad that she said that. And guess what? Here's the most dangerous thing. She's right. Don Muhlbach, a long snapper, is a Lions all-time great. That shows where this franchise has been. That shows why this franchise hasn't won anything. This shows why they haven't done a damn thing in a million years. Don Muhlbach and Jason Hanson, a kicker, are the two longest serving Lions ever. And long snapper's not even out there for offensive plays, defensive plays. He's only out there for special teams. It's a very sad commentary. In fact, when I sent you the quote, he didn't even believe it.
I didn't believe it when he sent it to me. We were talking about what we were going to discuss today, and he sent me Sheila's quote, and I read it, and I said, he is joking with me. He just wants him to come in pissed off.
I don't fool around, man.
And then I read the quote, and I will go to the Lions pages all on social media, and they have this this memorial and this whole like announcement of Don, thank you for your service. What an all-time great. I was ready to put my head through a wall.
You know what it sounded like?
This is like Google or Apple recognizing a janitor after 17 years of service and putting him up on the wall of fame with Steve Jobs. That's what we're doing.
It sounded like when you have to put your dog down. Oh man, I really loved Rover, and the family loved him. It was just time. What does that mean? It's just time. You know what this sounds? It sounds like age discrimination to me. Don Muhlbach turned 40.
He deserves to be cut.
We acknowledge he turned 40. We're just gonna cut you for no reason because it's just time.
Oh man, I don't know. This like really pissed me off. How are you gonna immortalize a long snapper? If you want to give him like a row in a section and name it after him, that's cool. If you want to put a plaque on the wall throughout all the facilities or something, or give him a hallway named after him, the Mule Hallway, I don't mind. Like, you can do that. I can respect that. If his jersey is retired, oh my goodness.
No, there's no way.
No, don't say there's no way. The Lions always find a way.
I understand the fan base won't allow him to do that. Now, they did give him a rocking chair. I thought that was nice. That's appropriate.
And it just tells him how old he is.
Yeah. I could use a rocking chair.
Honestly,
in fact, next time Maz buys chairs for the studio, can he get me a rocking chair with wheels on it?
Honestly, November of last year, we were having the conversation of who were the Lions we're going to move forward with after they made the decision to get rid of Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. And at the time, I was very frustrated because this is the same lady who defended Bob and Matt and said, no, we're going to give them an additional year. And they have to prove it, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Knowing damn well they had already lost the locker room. The team wasn't any good. The quarterback was pissed off. He was hurt. Galladay was hurt. I mean...
you need to learn not to listen to what these people say. Because when someone is part of the organization, no matter how bad you are, you're our guy, and you say nice stuff about him.
I don't know. I couldn't do that. I could never. If you want to be a leader, you have to be honest in the most important moments. So this is probably the worst thing that's come out of her mouth since she's defended Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn. I can't deal with it. But
so you're not a company man.
I mean, that's not the definition of a company man to me. A company man to me steps in front of the microphone, the camera, and acknowledges the mistakes that were made prior, and says, "All right, listen, this is the direction that we went in 2 years ago. Yes, they have 1 year left on their contract, but you know what? This isn't the culture we want to build. This isn't the team we're looking to build. We're going to roll into the 2020 season with an interim head coach, and we're going to start our GM search and our head coaching search for the entire season. And we ask the fans to be patient. We ask the fans to support our rebuild. Here's the reason why we're moving on from them. Like, just man up. Man up and accept that you suck. But you know what?
If you ask this fan base another time to be patient, you know what they're going to say? Kiss my ass. You've asked me to be patient.
All right, fine. Then
in the 70s,
let me change the word. Instead
80s.
of asking, I'll tell them to be patient because they don't have a choice because I own the team and I've been doing this to you for 6 years. So Lions fans are going to say, kiss my ass. And then if the Lions win one road game and now they're 1-6, oh my God, we have a chance. Guys, we have a chance. I'm telling you, what I saw today, we could win 4 in a row, go into the bye week, and there might be... This is our fan base. This is the fan base. I could tell them I'm bringing in Kennedy Broadwell to run executive operations for the. They're like, who's that? Okay, you know what? Hey, let's support it for the next 3 years.
Let's look at her resume. She went to Butler. You know, she must have an education.
That'd be great.
Well, Kennedy,
what are we trying to say here?
What'd you think of them retiring? Well, not retiring, cutting the mule and potentially retiring his jersey?
I thought literally nothing of it because I never paid attention to our long snappers.
I couldn't tell you in my Twitter feed how many people were like, who?
That was me. I was kind of like,
who? What?
We had a 40-year-old on the
What other
team?
fan base knows the name of their long snapper?
I don't know. I literally can't name one.
Probably no other franchise except this one. We know who Don Muhlbach
We've been
is.
so bad on offense and defense for the last 30 years that a special teams long snapper is being recognized as one of the greats. That's where we're at.
I mean, I used to recognize Prater as one of the greats, which is also a little bit sad.
No, he's not a Lion great. He's one of the better kickers to have ever played for the Lions, but he's not. He doesn't go down as a great.
But at one point, he was my favorite player because he was the only one giving us any points. So,
I mean, this is like the same conversation I have about like retiring Matthew Stafford's number. Why? Why?
All right.
That's a different conversation, but why? Why are we going to do this?
Is because the Fords liked him. He put up a lot of yards. Yes, they were meaningless, but the Lions have been meaningless since the 60s.
Then Jay Cutler should get his jersey retired by the Bears because he's probably the most statistically accomplished quarterback in
but the Bears are trying to win something. At least they've had moments where they've tried to win something. The Lions, they just try to get through 16 games each season.
Yeah,
now
and if
17 games.
if they go 9-7, it's okay because you know what? That's better than being 5-11. And hey, like we don't need to win playoff games. Like we can just, if we get to the playoffs two every 4 years and 2 out of every 4 years, and we get knocked out in the first round, and we get embarrassed, and we look like a junk team. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, look at the NFL history. Bad teams make the playoffs 3 out of 10 years, and they get their asses kicked. Lions don't even do that.
The Jets have been to multiple AFC championships in the 2000s. The Jets. A franchise so bad that they're very similar to the Detroit Lions, and even they've made multiple AFC championship appearances with Mark Sanchez at quarterback. The Lions are just on a different level.
And you know how we look at Jalen Green. We're going to look at Justin Fields as players that could have been here, where they have been the better choice. We're also going to be looking at the Jets coach Robert Saleh.
I was just going to bring up Robert Saleh. You couldn't have made a better decision. If you wanted a rah-rah guy to come in and change the culture and make everybody feel loved and a community feel, Robert Saleh was the answer. Not Dan Campbell. Robert Saleh brought X's and O's. He brought schematics that only he's doing really in the NFL right now on the defensive side of the ball. Just go look at how he used Richard Sherman over the last 2 years. And he brings the hometown feel. Like the fans would have supported it. And how they didn't come to an agreement with him or what they pitched him, because clearly he walked away from a job he really wanted. And he went and accepted a job with the Jets where they're just as dysfunctional. Why wouldn't he want to stay home with his family?
He would, but the Lions said no to him.
Is really? I hope that's not the actual story. From what I was told, they didn't pitch enough. They didn't give him enough decision-making control, and that's why he walked to New York.
Well, that's their way of saying no. That's what the Lions do.
My goodness.
They don't actually say, no, get the hell out of here. But what they do is, you're not going to be allowed to do that. I know you want to do this. I know you want control of personnel, but we're not going to give it to you. So you make the job so unappealing that you say no. Right.
And then he goes to New York with one of the highest salary caps in the NFL right now. They had a top 3 pick. All right, well, you brought up Jalen Green. That's something we're going to talk about right after the break. But before we go to break, I got to tell you about our friends at Northwestern Tech. Matt Patricia should probably be listening because he definitely needs to start a new career in an industry that is always essential. He is not essential to the NFL, so he should move on. The heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Woodward Show on the Woodward Sports Network. All right, they've teased it a little bit. We're going to talk about Jalen Green. He's obviously been trashing Detroit. He's gone back on what he said previously. He wanted to be here. Now he doesn't want to be here. Now he hates Detroit. There's nothing to do here. Terry, what do you think about this rivalry that is getting stirred up already?
Well, the way I look at Jalen Green is it's like you ask that pretty girl out, and she says no. And then you say, I didn't want to go out with the bitch anyway. So that's what Jalen Green is. What Jalen Green, first of all, he's young. He stirred it up. We don't like to be talked about. I'm talking about the city of Detroit. So that has stirred up a rivalry with him and Cade Cunningham. But I see Cade Cunningham is not the kind of guy where I think he'll punch Jalen Green or cuss him out or something, because that's the way it used to work in the league. So my thought is I think there's enough animosity towards this guy in Detroit, that you can have Detroit and Houston Rockets be the Christmas game. At least maybe not this year since they came out with a schedule, but maybe next year.
I think long term, that's a rivalry in the making, but not because it's about Cade and Jalen as the 1 and 2. It's about more so about Jalen's constant disrespect of the city. I don't know what to take away from Jalen Green. I don't know what's up his butt. Sounds like an immature 19-year-old just talking shit. And you know whether or not
it sounds like he did. It sounds like he read all of the old things people said about Detroit. There's nothing to do here. It's boring. It gets cold. And he just said, okay, this is what I'm going to say. Now, I have no evidence of this, but this is what I've been told. You know, he doesn't know about the revival
so he's
of
talking
downtown
out his
Detroit.
Ass. He's talking out of his ass.
Right. And I've heard disparaging remarks about Detroit from people in Milwaukee, New York. I mean, you name it. This is old news.
Yeah, who wants to live in New York? They got a rat problem. Why would you want to be in New York? At least there's no rats here.
Yeah, but those rats are in high rises, so they have it better than some people.
Yeah, but those
here.
rats are pretty big.
They're big rats. I was on the subway station. I'm like, wow, is that a moose? No, that's a rat. They do get big.
I'm telling you, what they're feeding them in New York, you got a 7-Eleven on every corner, so God knows the garbage they're picking up after. So those rats are eating good. But regarding Jalen Green, I think it's a good rivalry for the NBA. I think they need something like this. You don't have a rival for Zion. Luka doesn't really have a rival. Trey doesn't have a rival outside of New York Knicks fans, but that's old. That'll get old once the Knicks go back to being shit, which they probably will be. So I'm not sure what to make of his comments. All I know is I kind of get the vibe that you feel Detroit made the wrong decision in taking Cade 1 over Jalen. Am I correct on that?
No, you're incorrect about that.
Okay.
I think Cade Cunningham is the right fit for Detroit because you look at how the Pistons have won championships. It's always been team, bad boys, going to work gang.
Absolutely.
They
needed an unselfish star guard. That's
right.
what they
They
needed.
haven't. The one time they needed the selfish player, they didn't take him.
No, they take some dude from Kazakhstan. I don't know where he's from. Poor Darko. He gets so much shit still to this day.
And
it wasn't even his fault.
Wasn't his fault, but couldn't play.
Like who drafts a tall white dude overseas over a guy who took Syracuse to a national title? D Wade carried what college did D Wade go to?
He went to Marquette.
He carried Marquette, similar to Steph Curry. We saw years later taking a date in late into the NCAA tournament. Like you passed on guys that were.
Well, you may not have heard the story, but you know who tried to stop the Darko draft?
I hope and pray it was the coach.
It was me. I tried to stop it because I was talking to some guy in Spain. What he did is he used to go to European games.
Okay.
And somehow his name is Yosemite, and he was a Piston fan. And he said, tell Joe, do not draft Darko Milicic. He can't play. What he is, he's a workout guy. Looks great in workouts. If you just work him out and don't see him play, you'll draft him. If you actually see him play,
don't tell me that's what they did.
You'll see that he stinks. Well, they sent him all over there. They watched him work out. They had their Pistons scouts. Joe was there. All the Pistons were there. I said, this guy's great. We got to draft him.
Wow.
But my man told me the dude can't play. And if you he was saying, I'm not performing magic here. If you actually see him playing the game, you go like, whoa, what the hell is this?
This kind of reminds me of the Anthony Bennett situation. So when Cleveland took Anthony Bennett, I want to say 2016, 17, first overall, it was like, one, a shock. Two, it wasn't that great of a class anyways, but still, like, I can't believe people are still able to make that poor of a decision on a consistent basis. And these guys are executives in companies. It blows my mind.
Right, and they know more than you know.
They have all the information you could ever dream of. They have all the tape. They have all the medical reports. They have all the game reports. They have everything they could ask of from their scouting department. They get.
No, and
they still can't make a competent decision. Like, I'm just thinking old school back in '04. Like, how do you pass up on 2 generational guards? If you want to call Carmelo a guard, let's say, how do you pass on those 2, knowing damn well you already have Ben Wallace, you have Rasheed, you've got Chauncey Rip Tayshaun.
Well, you didn't have Rasheed at the time.
Well, yeah, true. They went forward and traded for him that year, but like that team was not a power forward away. They were a scorer away from becoming a dynasty, not just a back-to-back final appearance, losing a Game 7 and beat the Lakers the first time.
Yeah,
So,
I'll go back to one game, a playoff game where they beat Indiana like 69-67. You needed a guy
Who could
that
put
could
up-
score. But do you know why they passed on these guys? Tayshaun Prince. Well, we got our small forward. But Tayshaun Prince was not a guy that's going to get you 20, 22 points a game. Tay was a shot blocker. He was a good defender. He could hit the jumper, open jumper now and then. But he wasn't that guy who I describe as a stone cold killer scorer, which is what they needed.
we're going to talk about the what if with the Detroit Pistons and if they had drafted Carmelo Anthony a little later. But to kind of finalize this whole Jalen Green discussion, I think we both agree Cade Cunningham was the right fit. I think he'll be the better star player in the future just because of his character intangibles. I think he's much more promising as a human. And I think that's a super important part. That's why I think Justin Fields is going to be such a hit in Chicago, and they can't get the quarterback right. But you know what? When you get the right guy in the door, it works. It works. So I think for Cade, it's going to work in Detroit. I don't know why Jalen's all up in arms. And Houston Rockets fans are annoying. If you pay attention to Twitter, they don't shut the hell up. Like, Houston Rockets fans might be the most annoying fan base I've ever seen. Like, they've done nothing in the 2000s. They've won nothing.
Well, they're frustrated.
They are home to the Houston Texans, one of the worst franchises ever created by the NFL. Home to the Houston Rockets, who are notorious for making the Western Conference Finals and dropping a donut. They're home to the Houston Astros, who it took them getting 10 years of number 1 picks to get it right, on top of banging a garbage can to make it far into the playoffs.
They had ugly uniforms.
And ugly-ass uniforms. I mean,
dude, you'd be frustrated too. Look, we don't have anything in Houston, is what they're saying. So they get frustrated now, and they had a basketball team that not only was bad but was irrelevant. Nobody knew about the Houston Rockets last few years.
The second they traded away James Harden, the Rockets became nothing. They became nothing.
They became a CBA team,
basically. They became a team that nobody wants to watch, but god damn it, they're on TV, they're playing my team. I kind of have to watch this game.
So now they've got a guy that can, now they can poke their chest out a little bit.
We
still might suck, but we got a guy who could score 50 one day.
Great. Look how that turned out with James Harden. Enjoy winning 40 games in like 6 years and, getting out of the first round. That's not bad. It's a great accomplishment. I'm so happy for Houston Rockets fans. When we come back from the break, we are going to discuss Miguel Cabrera's glamorous chase for number 500. Obviously, he's under a lot of pressure, but what I'd like to talk about is what do you do with Miggy once he hits his milestones? We'll talk about that right after the break.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show on the Woodward Sports Network.
What's so funny? Let's focus.
I'm sorry.
You want to be good or you want to be great, Kennedy?
I want to be great, but Art's like so distracting sometimes. I cannot.
He is, but if I'm going to be here, I don't want any giggling and snickering and all that stuff. Let's be professional.
It's hard for me sometimes.
I need the professional face right now. Come on,
Okay,
Broadway.
but anyway, for real, I grew up with Miggy, and so I think I have a weird attachment to him because even though he hasn't ever gone away, he's like nostalgic for me, if that makes sense. Because as far back as I can remember the Tigers, Miggy has been there. So he's chasing that 500th home run. He's getting those base hit milestones as well. after the season, let's say he hits all the milestones, what do we do with him now?
First, I think you have a poor memory of Miggy because he's been a bum the last 4.5 years. Injury-prone bum, I should say. So that's not been nice. The Tigers have been a disaster for the last, 5 years as well, 6 years. So, I mean, recent memory, not too good. Obviously, there was the golden era from like 2011 to 2014, 15, but
that's what I was saying when I was a little
regarding Miggy, what you should do with him, I think you gotta figure out something. Can't be paying that guy $64 million over the next 2 seasons after this one. That's like, you gotta figure something out. You gotta trade him for like something.
Nobody wants that contract.
Well, you gotta pay for him to leave. That's the thing. You're stuck with Miggy. But my problem with Miggy is you got Torkelson, who's gonna come up next season. You got Riley Green coming up next. You got a lot of bats coming out of the farm system right now. I don't want Miggy being a part of the team, contributing to them not getting enough at bats. So
well, you're saying, well, I don't know what to do with him, but then you just told me what you should do with him. You need to get rid of his ass. You need to get these young guys bats. That's what you need to do.
Yes.
And yes, here's what you need to do as a franchise. You need to become the bad guy. Yes, Miggy, thank you for the 500 home runs. Thank you for the 3,000 hits. We're going to do you like
Get the hell out of
we
here.
did Albert Pujols. See ya.
See ya, wouldn't want to be you.
Right.
Or you just like do a buyout. Like, hey, we're just going to pay you to leave. Goodbye.
Right.
You're going to have to pay either way. Contracts are guaranteed in baseball. They're not getting away from paying the $64 million. Nothing you can do about the contract. But if you can trade him for like, a pencil, you get at least something.
And that's what Al Avila would do. He's traded guys for pizza.
He's traded guys for pizza, pencils, you name it. He's traded for. I mean, we've never gotten anything from an Al Avila trade, but that's irrelevant. Again, I think they got to get rid of him. You got too many bats coming up next season. I don't want to see Miggy, 40-year-old ass, trying to get to first base on a single every 6-7 plate appearances. Like, I'm not interested. I'm happy for him. All-time great, one of the best right-handed hitters of all time. Probably one of the most.
You just told me he sucks.
He sucks right now. He's sucked for the last like 4 or 5 years.
But you look at the totality of his career.
He's great, of course.
And that's what I was talking about. I was saying when I was a little girl. And then Adam said, your memory's bad because he sucks.
Well, your recent
You
memory's
just like
bad.
to hurt me.
I'm just giving you the truth.
Well, what she was saying is, if you look at the totality of her life, Miggy's been good for most of her life, but he's been bad the last part.
Well, at least you can say that about the Detroit Tigers and Miguel Cabrera.
The past couple of years. Huh?
At least you could say that about Miguel Cabrera and the Detroit Tigers. You can't say that about the Lions.
Yeah.
Probably can't say that about the Pistons in your lifetime.
I mean, I was around in 03, 04.
What were you like? You just born?
I was actually the child of the game multiple times around those good years. I'll have you know, there's pictures of little me shaking Chauncey Billups' hand.
Now, what were you saying to Chauncey? Goo goo gaga?
No, they would. The little people, or not the little people.
Now, when you met Chauncey, did you like drool on him and spit up on him and stuff like that?
No, I was like 5, right?
Oh yeah, so you totally remember the Pistons days. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
I do remember because the people on the court would come up to you with their microphones and they'd go, "Who's your favorite player?" And little Kennedy would go, "Chauncey Billups," and then they'd run over and they'd grab Chauncey and they'd be like, "You need to meet this little girl," and then we'd take a picture.
What the hell is that, there?
It's true.
I don't know. She was a cute little child.
I guess.
And,
cute enough to be the child of the game. So.
I was never the child of the game.
I was an ugly child, so. I had a unibrow.
Well, that's why hurt people, and you guys are being mean to me this morning.
Well, I mean.
It's too early.
No. Nobody's being mean to you. We're just toughening you up. That's all it is.
It's fine.
Listen, Broadwell, I wasn't as cute as you when I was a kid.
At least you admit it.
To be the guy or baby boy of the game. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But with Miggy, again, great, one of the best hitters in Tigers history. Probably one of the best right-handed hitters of all time, for sure. Who can forget his triple crown year? Probably should have done it back-to-back years. Should have won back-to-back AL MVPs, but, politics get involved in baseball too much. Regardless, you got to get rid of Miggy.
But
you got to get rid of Miggy.
It's not
AJ Hinch is proven.
Team. There's no I in team.
Of course. You got to get rid of his ass.
You got to thank him for the past. You got to thank him for when Kennedy can remember him for being good. But the bottom line is you got the young backs, Torkelson, Green. You want those guys in the lineup without looking over their shoulder, without some old crotchety guy
taking 300 at-bats a year from him. Yeah, I think the Tigers should take a playbook out of the Detroit Lions. Just fuck him. Get rid of him. Cut his ass.
on his birthday. Find out when his birthday is.
Find out when
cut him
Miggy's
that day.
birthday is. I want him cut on that day. I want him cut, traded on his birthday or his anniversary. I want to ruin Miggy's day one time. I think that's what the Tigers need to do after the season. Once he gets his milestones, goodbye. Sayonara. I'll trade him for Fish. We'll give him Fish.
Fish is oddly athletic.
I'll
so
give up anything for
Fish
Miggy
is
at
young.
this point.
No,
That's
but
the
he's
point.
like oddly athletic. Fish, would you agree? Oh yeah, shut that door, Fish.
He wants nothing to do with you.
Yeah, Kennedy Fish doesn't want to talk to you.
No,
but
I wouldn't call myself athletic. Other people, I mean, I run around and kick a ball and catch
Fish, give
it
me your
and,
best swing impersonation.
Baseball?
Yeah.
No, the other swing.
Well, there's two. There's golf and baseball.
Well, come on. Finish the swing. What, are you checking your swing? There you go.
Ooh.
All right, I dig it, Fish. I dig
He's
it.
an uppercutter.
Jokes aside, I think you got to get rid of Miggy. We both agree. He's a great Tiger. He should be walked out. He probably gets a statue more than likely at Comerica Park. He probably ends up with a retired number. So I think just find a way to get him out nice and easy. But once he gets his milestones, get him out.
I think if he already had his 500
He would've
home
been
runs
gone.
and already his 3,000 hits, the Tigers already would have done it.
Yeah, you got a top 3 manager right now in AJ Hinch. He's proven he can win games with a less roster. Lions fans, if you have a good coach, you can win football games, but don't listen to Adham. AJ
And
Hinch
if
is
you
a
have
good
players.
manager. Huh?
Yes, if you have players too.
The soft tone boys. I mean, the Tigers have raw players. They don't have a group of players that are like, wow, this is a team. This is a team. This could be something. They're just going out there and playing fundamental ball, and they're doing it night in and night out on a consistent basis. You cannot say that about the Lions over the last 20 years, even when they've had winning teams.
How about the last 60 years?
I mean, I didn't want to go there.
What the
Terry.
Tigers are doing, though, is they have been good enough for at least Chris Illich to consider, well, maybe now it's time to get those high-priced free agents. If they'll come to Detroit, it's time to spend. And I didn't think he was going to do it this offseason, but I really believe he's going to have Al Avila look at the free agent market and sign somebody.
He's probably going to go for Carrera from Houston. I
Right.
think that's the ideal one. You need a shortstop. Just address it. The thing with Detroit is if you're going to go for sluggers, you're going to have a hard time convincing them. Because, these are ego players, too. These are guys who, they want to put up numbers. And, if Cabrera was playing for any other team, he probably is going for 600 tonight. So, I mean, playing at Comerica is difficult. That center field, you're not hitting many over that. So, you're going to have a ton of home runs that are going to be taken away coming into Detroit. So, if they're going for a slugger, it'll be difficult. But when we come back from the break, we are going to talk about the what if the Detroit Pistons drafted Carmelo Anthony and how not only that would have shaped the Detroit Pistons' future, but the future of the NBA. We'll do that right after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, so we teased it already. We're going to talk about Carmelo Anthony. So he's got a ton of Pistons fans in their feels right now because he came out and said that he still thinks about that 2003 draft where they promised him that they would take him on that number 2 pick, but instead they took Darko. So what do you guys think would have happened if we would have taken Carmelo Anthony instead?
Terry, I'll start with my likely scenario, and then
Okay,
I'd like
go
you
ahead.
to educate me. But I think with Carmelo Anthony, that team instantly becomes potential 3-peat contenders. They already made back-to-back without him. So if you want to book those 2 with him, they probably win 2. And then they probably get to a 3rd instead of losing to LeBron the way they did that year. And I think how that reshapes the NBA is Melo bursts onto the scene similar to how Kobe did, where he won a significant amount of his titles early on in his career. He won 3, I believe, in the first 6 or 7. He had made 4 finals appearances, and then you would have seen a similar thing with Melo. So Melo would have been a champion. LeBron and Wade and Bosh wouldn't have been champions, and you're looking around like, well, LeBron probably doesn't get to the finals with the Cavs in 08, and he probably doesn't leave to Miami. I think he leaves to Detroit and teams up with Melo. And then Melo becomes the Dwayne Wade to LeBron James, and the Pistons probably win another 2 or 3. That's kind of how I played it out, because I don't see a scenario where the Pistons move on from Sheed and Ben by 2010. They probably move on from Billups. So now they're kind of in a rebuild, but they have good pieces around it. They have Melo, so they probably get a good guard. They bring in LeBron again. They'll probably be championship contenders.
If you think
and the narrative
LeBron was
changes.
going to come here, you're sadly mistaken. The only reason he went to Cleveland is because he was from there. This is not a free agent destination.
To play with Melo, though.
Yeah, but play with Melo or play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh at South Beach.
Again, I think the narrative changes, though, because does D. Wade even get a ring? With the Pistons becoming a dominant force in the East. Remember, they had made, what, 6 or 7 Eastern Conference appearances in a row. They played the Heat that ended up beating the Mavericks. They played LeBron that ended up losing to the Spurs. So how that rewrites history, we could probably like give a million different ways it could have happened. But does LeBron go to Miami? Like, is D. Wade a champion by 2010? We don't know. Like,
yes, because it became LeBron's league. Back in the day, it became Michael Jordan's league because you forgave him for doing things. Referees allowed him to do things. The NBA allowed LeBron James to kind of take over and say, hey, we are going to get paid because of you.
So we want you to be a champion. We're going to, yeah. Even if Melo bursts onto the scene, he's a 25, 26, 27 point guy his first few years, and then he evolves into a 30-point-per-game scorer like he was in Denver, and they're still winning. I mean, a 3-4-time champion by year 7, year 8, that's the face of the league. I don't think LeBron could have overcome that rough of a start.
The league would have made sure LeBron overcame that.
So you think the same way they did Kobe Bryant, they would have done Melo in Detroit?
Of course, because he's a guy that puts buttons in seats. He drives TV ratings. He is like the face of the league. This is much bigger than what Carmelo Anthony and the Detroit Pistons can provide. The NBA is like, okay, yeah, we can still get paid if the Pistons are going to do well, but we're really going to get paid if LeBron and D. Wade and all these guys take off.
But if you look at the revolution, or like the time where media changed and it became talk show, it became conversational, it became debating LeBron James's legacy or whatever it may be, that was created by LeBron's losing, not during his winning period. The LeBron's losing phases during his time in Cleveland is what kind of started this media consumption that really exploded onto the scene for the NBA. It really made the NBA much more popular.
And what did he do? He got out of Cleveland.
He got out of Cleveland, went to Miami, but that was scrutinized because it's the scrutiny that has elevated James and the NBA, not just the success. So I'm trying to play a scenario in my head where the NBA...
And then the whole thing, not 1, not 2, not 3, all that played into it. So LeBron James became a guy you hated or a guy you loved. But regardless of where you sat on the podium, you always looked at him. Oh, LeBron's playing tonight. Okay, I'll cancel my poker game because I'm going to watch him play. I don't think the Pistons ever would have become that under Carmelo Anthony. Now, would they have won a second championship? Yes. I think they would have won 04 and 05. And I agree with you. Maybe they would have gone gone at least to the finals in all 6. And would they have won it? I don't know. But they blew a second championship. They blew the opportunity for the going to work Pistons to say, okay, bad boys, you say you're the best Pistons team in history.
Check this out. We just got 2.
We got 2 championships too. So now what?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole Robert Horry shot, Sheed going to.
But if you have Carmelo, maybe it doesn't come down to
that's
Robert Horry
that's
shot.
kind of where I was going with Melo. Is you bring in Melo to that team? It was a very seasoned veteran team prior to Sheet. Do they go for Sheet? I don't even know. Probably still. They still needed a power forward, especially because they busted with who they actually drafted. So they were going to do that anyways. I think it's a minimum of 3 finals appearances in a row. Well, now, whether they win more after, no, I think the team would have gotten too old. I think it wouldn't have been enough. You've seen the LeBrons coming through, the D-Wades coming through. I think they would have likely still get theirs. But I think it changes the 2010 free agency period. Maybe Bosch comes to Detroit then, and D-Wade, and it's only D-Wade and Braun. And then you have 2 super teams in the East. I mean, I'm trying to envision a scenario where Miami doesn't happen because of this, because you have a champion from your draft class, a 3-time champion.
Now, Honey Bun, let me explain something to you. Free agents don't come to Detroit in the NBA. They come here in the NHL. That's about it. But nobody wants to be here until they're actually here. So Chris Bosh was not coming here. LeBron was not coming here. Kobe was not coming here. In fact, there were rumors about Kobe coming here or being traded. He said, I'd rather retire. Dudes would rather retire than come here. So you have to understand, the whole Chris Bosh, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade, these are boys. These are my boys. We're going to play together. We're going to win not 1, not 2, not 3. We got a little thing going on here. So they weren't going to come to Detroit because we got Belle Isle. We don't have South Beach. All right? That's the difference right there.
That's fair. I mean, when I think of Melo being drafted, I think it really changes the league's outlook. I still can't think of a league that's driven. LeBron was always going to become the face. It was destined to be that way from before he was even drafted. But in that world, the scrutiny he would have been under, that the classmate that went number 2 was already 2-3 up on him heading into their primes. And I don't know how that shapes Melo's career. How do we think of Melo? Is Melo just a really great scorer? Is he basically a more complete version of Allen Iverson? How do we remember Carmelo now?
Well, we remember him as just a scorer, a selfish guy, and all he cared about was himself. Now, if he's drafted by the Pistons, you have to understand, culture can change a player. He would have been under Ben Wallace, who would have been in his ass saying, dude, I know you can score 25, but you better play defense. Ben was rough on these guys. He wasn't a coach, but he was like the sergeant at arms. If you don't play defense, I'm kicking your ass. So then maybe Carmelo's like, okay, Ben is a little bit crazy. I got to think more about team than I actually do. And plus, he's at a young age. He's 22, 23,
so he's going to be more
years.
receptive to learning.
Right, where he's acceptive to that thing. Then he would have accepted Larry Brown easier because Ben told me I better do it, else he's going to beat my ass after practice.
Terry, my question for you is going to be, with Carmelo Anthony and the whole Darko situation, how situation plays a lot into whether players succeed or not. When you're drafted 1st overall, 2nd, 3rd overall to the Lions, to the Jets, it's different when you're drafted 6th, 7th overall to maybe the Ravens, the Broncos, whatever it may be. Just considering based on the organization, I think Melo probably develops into a 27, 7-4, 7-5 career player with the Detroit Pistons instead of being the guy known for putting up 61-0-0 at the Garden.
Maybe not 27, only because the Pistons were about, let's spread the wealth. So maybe Carmelo was capable of scoring 27, but they would say, oh, no. We got Chauncey, you got Rashid, you got a bunch of guys who can score, and we're about winning. We don't care about your stats. And I think Carmelo would say, you know what? All right, cool. I'm not going to score as much, but when you need me,
I'm going to be there.
I'm going to be there.
So how long do you think the prime Pistons last with Melo before they kind of have to enter a rebuild? Is it the 3 seasons like we kind of already discussed and agreed on, or could they potentially get to a fourth, and then it's off the rails, they're too old now?
That's tough to say. At least the 3 seasons, possibly 4 or 5, but you have to understand, maybe Melo's like, I want out. Because there's this thing called free agency. And
I got mine already. I'm a champion.
I got mine.
I can do
yes.
whatever I want. I want to go live in L.A.
I got my ring.
Probably could go to the Lakers instead of the whole Chris Paul thing.
Right.
Man, again, Carmelo being drafted opens up so many different scenarios. Like, we can go into, like Terry just mentioned, Melo probably leaves after his first contract, doesn't re-up, goes to a Los Angeles, goes to potentially a Miami.
How about he would never be in Portland? How about that? Portland, once again, not a free agent destination.
Yeah. That's wild. That's wild. Terry, thank you. That was fun.
Beautiful.
When we get back from the break, we are going to discuss the Lions' away schedule and how many games we believe they will win this upcoming season. But before we go to the break, I got to tell you about our special broadcast live from Levels in Centerline this Friday. We're going to be out there all day. They're giving away a 2021 Dodge Challenger. Guys, like, how better could it be to hang out with us all day? Terry will be there. I'll be there. Stig, Joey, the whole crew is going to be down there. Braylon Edwards, Ryan Armani. We're all going to be down there having a good time. And we're going to be giving away a Challenger. I mean, it's not my cup of tea. It's not my kind of car. But, hey, if you win a free car, you win a free car, guys. They're also free featuring Grizzly Gas, Terry, which is a special cannabis. I don't even know the word for it. Made by T Grizzly. So that's kind of their plug. So I think it's great. When we get back from the break, again, we're going to talk the Lions away schedule.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. And at Hall Financial, we treat our clients like family. And our #1 priority is giving each of our clients 5-star service. Our passion for 5-star service, combined with our expertise, allows us to find the best possible solution for refinancing your home loan. We take the time to focus on both the individual and the numbers. We're going to walk you through the process and close your loan in half the time of our competition. Go to davidhallmortgage.com today.
Welcome back, everyone. I don't even think I want to bring up this next topic because you guys continuously hurt me anytime the Lions are brought up. And I know already that Adam wants the team to go 0-17.
I do.
For the storyline of it all. But we're going to get into how many away games will a team win this year. Terry, let's start with you. What do you think?
I got them for 2. They will finish 5-11, maybe 6 no, not 5-11, 5-12, or 6-11. I got to adjust for the 17-game schedule, guys. This is not a good team. They are building something here. They do not have playmakers. They have a game manager quarterback. They're going to try to win in the National Football League by running the football. I don't see Travis Henry on this roster. I don't see the old Dallas Cowboys offensive line on this roster, although it could be good. I think the Lions are taking the long view. They decided to draft Penei Sewell. They decided to work on that offensive line more rather than bringing in Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a nice, shiny penny. And yes, he's going to do well in Chicago. But if you want to win and you want to sustain it, I think they're looking at it this way. You build it from the middle out. You make sure you have a good offensive line. You try to develop a defensive line. And it's not sexy. It's not what fans want to hear. But the bottom line, they're taking a longer view. And I think even the Lions, if you give them a shot of bourbon, they will admit, yeah, it's going to be a poor season. But we're hoping in 2024 or maybe 2023, this thing will be turned around.
I think that's a great way to put it. The roster isn't good enough to compete this year, especially considering they have the 6th hardest schedule overall, and then they have the 4th hardest schedule based on win totals from last season. But you look at their schedule now. Monday night, open up away in Lambeau, Green Bay. That's a loss. Away to Chicago. You haven't done great there in the last few years. Away to Minnesota. Away to LA. Good luck in LA. Good luck in Pittsburgh. Although I think they can beat the Steelers, but that's beyond the point.
Now, you know what the goofballs around here are saying? They're going to LA twice. Once to face the Rams, and the second time to watch the Lions play in the Super Bowl. No.
You are correct.
Oh my goodness. You know, people like that deserve the worst life possible.
Well, you won't be able to go to
They ruin things
LA.
for other people.
Know
They
what?
give this false expectation that everything's going to be great. We're going to be so great. I'm so excited. I'm excited for the football season. I'm just not willing to put 10, 11 win expectations on a rookie head coach, a roster that downgraded at wide receiver and quarterback. The secondary didn't get all that better. They addressed the O-line and the defensive line, so I kind of like that. They're telling you we're 2-3 years away from being a very good football team.
Linebackers either.
We're 2-3 years away from being a very good football team, given we get the right quarterback in the next 2 drafts.
Right.
That's a great thing. That's a great position to be in if you're a Detroit Lions fan. Let people talk shit about you now. It's fine. Knowing in 2 years you get the right quarterback, you continue to build the right pieces on this football team, you get a few skill position guys. You open up the salary cap by getting rid of Goff in 2 years. Now you can bring in free agents, veterans, wide receivers, some secondary players if you need them at the time. Like, you can build a very good football team if you just chill back and be like, man, I'm gonna enjoy this football season, Terry.
Right.
I'm not even stressing it. We're gonna win 4. Hell, we win 4. I'm cool. We win 6. I'm cool. I'd rather win 4.
You know what you can look forward to? Those high draft picks in the first round.
That's right. I got 4 draft picks in the first round over the next 2 years. That's a great situation to be in.
Young man's league.
But come on, guys. Look at the schedule. You got Green Bay. You're away to Chicago. You're away to Minnesota.
Win.
Away to Los Angeles.
Win.
Away to Pittsburgh. Away to Cleveland.
Win.
Those are 2. What? Fish? Are you serious?
Yes. You. By the way, you meant to say 2 to 3 months, right? Not 2 to 3 years.
Fish, I hope you're just joking with me.
Yeah, they're gonna win. They're gonna win.
They're not gonna win.
No, they are.
They're gonna win in Cleveland.
The only game they can win on that road schedule right now is going to be away to one of their divisional opponents, which is likely Minnesota because it's in a dome. So they could beat Minnesota away because Kirk Cousins is also their quarterback. They could beat Pittsburgh because they're going to be coming off a bye week, so they're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for Ben Roethlisberger's old ass. And they may beat Denver. So you maybe get 3 wins on the road. Maybe. And I'm being generous. You maybe get 3 wins. That's how you're going to go 10-7. You're going to win 3 on the road. 7-1 at home. Yeah, that's so realistic. Yeah, because Ford Field, people are so nervous when they come to Ford Field and getting ready to play for the Lions. It's just so intimidating. The fans are so scary. Oh my God, what are they going to do? Are they going to put plastic bags over their head again? Oh my God, what are they going to do? Come on. The team is in a rebuild.
I think they're afraid of Crackman.
As they should be.
No, they should be afraid of Crackman because they.
And they need to be afraid of Art when he does that like growl thing. There it is. Yep, that.
No. You know what Lions fans need to do? They need to just chill back and listen to Terry and myself, and be like, all right, you know what? It's not going to be a great year, but you know what? I can look forward to watching a Jeff Okuda.
But you know what? We're not going to get credit. You know what these assholes are going to say? They say, oh, that Adham and Terry, they were so negative. They brought down the vibe of this team. This team was going to take off, and they were too negative. And these guys listened to them, and that's why they won 5 games.
My goodness.
It went into the locker room.
It's not negative
Common
energy.
sense.
You can bring in the rah-rah coach, and we're going to talk about that later, about Dan Campbell's antics and how he's Mr. I love life 24/7. Look at me, look at the energy. We're going to talk later on how long that's going to last, but again, you don't have a good football team. If I asked you September of last year who was a better quarterback, Stafford or Goff, you would tell me 10 times out of 10, Stafford. Don't lie to yourself. Don't bullshit. The Rams were willing to give you 2 first-round picks to get rid of his ass. You think he's going to come here and put up numbers like Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, he
Give
is.
me a break. Yeah, I know. That's why you Lions fans like Fish, Art, and the people in the chat, or at least some of them. I don't want to call all of them out because there are some smart Lions fans. But to all the dumb ones,
there's a lot of them.
And there's a lot of them. The team isn't good. Just enjoy the football season. Just chill back.
Oh, just enjoy it when we're losing.
It's okay. It's okay because you know in 2-3 years you're going to be a very good football team that could potentially compete for the next 10 years. How amazing would that be? I don't want 9-7, 7-9, 9-7, 6-12, 11. I don't want that. I want consistency. This franchise needs to. And the fan base need to up their expectations, but not expectations only, their standards. The expectation should be on the standards, not just on the on-field product. No. I want to see us build a winning culture, not Dan Campbell. I got a cup here. I got culture here. I got love here. Every single morning, everything is shiny and rosy. Wow. No, just no. That's not how it works in the NFL. It's not how it works.
It does.
They got to take a page out of
Seattle. You have
Seattle.
to understand, though, it's so hard to stay positive all season when you're losing all the time. Like,
whose fault is that?
The Lions' fault, not mine. Certainly not my fault.
No, it is your fault.
No, Terry.
To a certain extent, it is your fault. Because Lion fans, every year, they said, this is the year. Don't mess with my vibe. My Lions are going to be good this year. Every year. You guys fall. You know what Lion fans are? They're Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown when Lucy has the football there and pulls it away. Then by November, you're all pissed off at the team.
Yep.
They let me down. I hate this team.
I wish it was that
Terry,
way.
do you have a camera
it's actually
in my house?
even worse than that. It's not even that they're just angry come November.
No.
It's if we just had that one play go our way, I swear we're 2 games away. If we could just win these next 2, I'm telling you, we can make the playoffs.
No,
I'm telling you, Kennedy, listen, we win on Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, we could win out. We could win out, Kennedy. We could be a wild card team. And you know what? If we just give ourselves a chance, we could do something.
Here's how delusional Lion fans are. If you ask them, what's the Lions' Thanksgiving Day record? They'll say, they've won about 75, 80% of their games. They have a losing record on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
Guess what? That'll change this year.
The only reason the NFL doesn't take Thanksgiving away from the Detroit Lions is because it's actually good for ratings. They're actually good for ratings because people just wake up like, I wonder if Peyton Manning's going to throw 6 touchdowns this morning against the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. I wonder if Mitchell Trubisky's going to light up the Lions today. Like, people just... Fantasy owners love the Lions playing on Thanksgiving Day. Teams love playing the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. The only ones that don't enjoy playing on Thanksgiving Day are the Lions. That's it. It's that simple.
You don't think they like it a little?
I don't think they like losing. I would distaste something if every day I woke up and every single year I was losing.
Even when they had that lit Nickelback concert?
I don't care if they had Nickelback. I don't care if they had Jesus. I don't care if you brought back One Direction. It doesn't matter.
Didn't Kid Rock do it 1 year? Kid Rock did it 1 year, right?
The team needs a few years.
No?
Yes.
Get on the train of, I want to grow with the team. I want to see Okuda improve. I want to see the offensive line develop into a top 10 offensive line like PFF is the way PFF has rated them. I want to see Goff just do well enough so we can just get rid of his ass in 2 years and everything's cool. I want to see the team draft a quarterback. I want to see my quarterback sit a year and learn and grow. And I want to see pieces built around the team. It's a great situation for the Lions to be in. It's actually one of the best situations they've been in probably since the offseason before they hired Jim Caldwell. They had a great roster. They went and brought in a good management coach, a guy who was respected by the players. And you saw they won 11 games. Granted, they choked the shit out of that season, but hey, Lions fans tend to forget what happened, so they kind of skew things. But regardless, Terry, there's something I want to build off of to this conversation. Outside of how many away games they were going to win, we both agree it's not going to be many.
Correct.
You had mentioned to me you wanted to discuss Michael Lombardi and Dan Campbell.
Right.
And who the bigger dumbass was.
Right.
So I'm going to let you take the floor. But breaking down the final 2 minutes of the game, who was the bigger dumbass? Dan Campbell or Michael Lombardi for his critique of Dan Campbell?
Okay. In my mind, it's easily that Michael Lombardi is the dumbass for the critique of Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell was criticized at near the end of a preseason game for passing the ball rather than just handing the ball off twice and running out clock so the Lions could kick a field goal, a chip shot field goal with 40 seconds or less than 40 seconds left. Now, if this was a regular season game, that's exactly what Dan Campbell would have done. But in my mind, Dan Campbell wanted to see David Blau, who might play this year, make some critical throws in clutch situations. He didn't care about the outcome as much as what can I see out of my quarterback late in the game. If my backup quarterback, what do I have if I have to use this guy? That was way more important. Now, Michael Lombardi comes out and criticizes Dan Campbell for poor clock management. That if he were an Oakland Raider coach, he would have been fired. To me, that's asinine talk.
I think it's weak. I think it's weak to critique a coach in the preseason where he's telling you post-game, I'm trying to put players in situations that they'll likely be in during the regular season. Like, I'm trying to see how he's going to throw under 2 minutes. Is he going to complete the third down pass? Is he going to put us in a position where A, we can seal the game, and B, if we can't, cool, I know now my defense is in that situation. Hey, can we stop it? Clearly they didn't, but that's beyond the point. But Terry, I want to give an answer on who the bigger dumbass is, but there's a comment from Bob's Big Boy, and this is towards you. Are you ready for this? Because I'm not.
I'm ready.
He said, I am just, I need a camera for this one. I am just so glad that we have Goff, and in the next 8 seasons, he'll deliver 3 Super Bowls and 2 league MVPs.
What, are they trading him or something?
No, they're probably trading him, or they're talking about his replacement. I
And
don't know
that
what the hell
guy
they're
is
talking
right.
about. I can't believe this.
If he wins, if Jared Goff wins 3 Super Bowls, that means he's going to be playing for the Green Bay Packers or somebody else.
No,
That means he was a backup
Lions.
to Tom Brady over the next 5 years.
Right.
I mean, that's... I don't know, guys. Like, come on. Are we really going to do this? This is... I'm going to close
Now, is this the big boy that wears the suspenders? Or is this a dude that
I don't know.
calls
He's
himself
just a big
boy?
dumbass. I don't know if he's a big boy or not. I don't know if he's skinny, fat. I don't know. Mike
No,
McCarthy...
big boy is fat.
Do not
Big Boy's
get
fat?
Adam started on big boys. He has been extremely
Listen,
mean.
I am not a fat shamer, but
You
Mike
are!
McCarthy is fat. Charlie Weiss is fat. They're fat. Sorry, they're fat. Am I saying anything wrong?
Hey, it's not a
I
crime.
believe Mike
Terry?
McCarthy snags 15 Snickers pre-game, and that's why he makes horrible decisions in the game. Sorry, that's just my opinion.
He's a big boy.
He's a
Maybe
big boy.
he's not fat. Maybe he's just big boned.
Yeah.
That's
you
a
ever
lot
think
of
about
bone.
that?
I've never seen Bone do this. So, sorry. Look, big boy, he's not winning 2 league MVPs. He's not winning a league MVP. He's not winning a Super Bowl, let alone 3. And it's the stuff like that is what pisses me off. And I'm sure that pisses you off. This is the delusional Lions fan that just comes out and says bullshit and doesn't even look at the team. They don't understand that the team has one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. They don't understand that they're actually in a rebuild. Like, guys.
Well, he is looking down the road. I do think for the first time that the Lions are a real organization.
Yes.
So potentially they could get off the schneid and go to a Super Bowl someday.
In the next 8 to 10 years, if they
It
stay
ain't
on
going to
this
be
path.
this year.
And definitely not going to be this year. Not going to be next year. And not going to be the year after that, guys. Seriously.
But
come on.
beyond that,
Get
who
ready to
knows?
be wowed, Adam.
What is that?
Get ready to be wowed.
Ready to be wowed?
Yes, when you see the Lions
Fish, you know people like
playing
you have
at
been saying that
6
for 60 years about the Detroit Lions? Get ready to be wowed, Adam.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
You're gonna see
when
it
the
this
Lions don't accomplish that,
It's
they
my
don't-
fault.
They don't blame the Lions. It's somebody else's fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault that the Lions are going to go 3-14, guys, or that they're going to go 5-12. Excuse me.
No, it's his fault for being too negative. It's the referee's fault.
That's all why we lost. It's because Adam was
it's
negative before the game
always-
started.
Yeah, they got screwed on a call, or the sun was shining the wrong way, or it was too cold, or it was too hot.
Terry,
it was
those same
always
Lions
something.
fans will tell you, well, they picked up the flag and Des Bryant ran. We know. But that happened with 8 minutes and 25 seconds left in the fourth quarter. You know what? Jim Caldwell needed to be better. Matthew Stafford needed to be better. The team needed to be better that night. That one call still left them with a 4th and 1. A 4th and 1. I gotta see what Art's about to pull up on the comment right now. What if the Lions beat the Rams this year? You will eat a complimentary Big Boy sandwich on set? If the Lions beat the Rams.
If the Lions
If that,
beat
is,
the
that,
Rams,
is that an accomplishment? All right, first of all, yes. I'll take that. But one,
Might
it's not
get
going to
fat,
happen.
So watch out.
And two, how big is the hamburger? Or is it I don't know what that is.
you
it
never
big?
had a big boy?
I've never had a Big Boy
Oh,
burger.
they're delicious. Now, here's what
Lions,
Big Boy,
please beat the Rams
No,
if
here's
it's
what
delicious.
Big Boy needs to do. If the Lions beat the Rams, Big Boy, put the Big Boy combination back on your menu.
What's the big boy combination?
Big Boy combination is the Big Boy, the double decker,
Okay.
fries, and coleslaw.
Okay, I like that.
It's delicious. But I always because I'm rich, I substitute my fries for onion rings.
Oh, what is that? A $1.50 upgrade?
It's $1.99 more.
Jeez, Terry's balling out.
What can I say?
Flex on us.
I live in West Bloomfield.
Ooh. Pontiac don't got that kind of money.
Big boy, if the Lions beat the Rams, which I'm sure will be your equivalent of a Super Bowl, I hope that makes you happy.
That would be the Lions Super Bowl.
I will eat a Big Boy burger on set, and I'll actually invite him up here if the Lions do beat the Rams.
Big boys are good. Seriously,
yeah.
I love them.
I had Big Boys growing up all my life. Their hot fudge sundae was the best thing ever. So.
You know what I got? The banana cream pie.
Ooh. My mom was very supportive of us eating dessert as a kid. I was a really chunky. I was Big Boy basically growing up. I was Big Boy. So
my kids hate Big Boy now.
Really?
Yeah.
You raised your kids wrong.
I tried. I when we go to the airport, for instance, we had to take Celine to the airport. I always try to say, let's go to Big Boy because Big Boy is right across from the airport. And, oh, Dad, I don't want to go to that place. You know why they don't like it? Because it's cheap. Because Dad can go there and I'm not poor when I walk out. They want to go somewhere else.
They just want to hammer you for everything you got.
They do.
Sounds like Detroit Lions fans. Well, at least you did something right. All right. Well, when we get back from the break, we are going to discuss the COVID vaccine effect on the upcoming NFL season, how it may affect Ford Field. Teams have already come out, and they might be implementing vaccine verification to even enter the stadium. We'll talk about that next, but before we do, I do have to remind you guys, starting next Monday, we won't be streaming on Facebook anymore. So be sure to download the Woodward Sports app on the Google Play or Apple Store. You can listen every morning, every show from 8 to 10. We have our 11 to 1 show, 2 to 4, 10 to 10:30, and then there's weekday specialty shows. You can check out the schedule on the Woodward Sports website. But again, Facebook, we won't be streaming starting next Monday. Catch us on YouTube, catch us on Twitter, and the Woodward Sports app. We'll see you right after the break.
Welcome to the Call Sam Chopper Shop, where you can win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time.
Watch as the Bad Pig Custom team turns this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
And when it's finished, we'll be donating the bike to Volunteers of America Michigan to raffle off in support of our vets.
A great cause to give back to those who've given so much.
Watch for Call Sam Chopper Shop episodes on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, so Terry is actually lucky enough to live with Dr. Fauci himself. So maybe he has some special insight that we don't know about yet. So I told you actually the other week that I was required to go either have a negative COVID test within 48 hours or show my vaccination card to get into this party downtown. Do you think that that's something we could foresee happening at Ford Field?
I absolutely think that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen until like a couple days before the game because they want to sell as many tickets as they can. And then, because if you start hearing, well, you have to be vaccinated or you need a mask to go on the Ford Field, people are not going to buy tickets. So if you just delay what's inevitable, then people are going to buy tickets and the Lions can get, more revenue that way. But we are headed to a society where there's going to be a vaccinated society and a non-vaccinated society. And we're going to be separate. And so I really believe that's going to happen. And we're going to need vaccination cards or Dr. Fauci made me put it on my phone. I have my vaccination card on my phone. And Dr. Fauci is my wife, by the way.
I don't know if this is long-term smart for the NFL. I think this is really going to affect their pockets if they try to do this. Now, whether or not you believe someone should get a vaccine or not, it's not your decision whether someone else takes it or not. It's their decision at the end of the day, and they make that decision based on the information they have.
True, but here's the difference. What their decision affects me.
That's the problem.
Their division affects other people.
That's like the big problem here is you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna have the people who are and aren't vaccinated, and again, we're already heading towards a totally digital lifestyle. My belief is if all the stadiums roll out with a vaccination card policy, you're gonna see a significant drop off in sales, and and they can wait till 2 days prior. I don't care. The second they announce it, 2023 to 2030, ticket sales are going down. Is it?
But
You're going to lose
I
half of your Lions season ticket holders.
True, but I think the NFL proved you don't need fans to make money.
That's true. That's why, again, it doesn't matter for the NFL from a standpoint of digitally, they got it. And honestly, who doesn't love sitting back watching TV at home? Like, everything is there. It's not loud. There's no obnoxious drunk guy trying to kill you because you're calling out the quarterback or you're yelling something. Like, there's
You know
pros
what's the
and
best
cons.
part about watching a game at home? I don't have to wait a half an hour to use the bathroom. I can just roll in, do my thing, and I'm back.
Depends on your wife, I guess, really, but or your kids. How long you're gonna wait? Multiple bathrooms?
In the men's room, dad gets priority.
Okay, so you have like priority. You have a priority key card.
Priority bathroom, priority pizza, priority chicken wings, priority beer. I get first crack.
So I think with the vaccine, if the vaccine verification card happens, I think you lose probably 40% attendance year one. And I don't think the NFL hate that. If anything, they probably shift to a more digital type of seating going forward. So maybe, you know, they're putting monitors on every single seat now, and that you buy your ticket to view it digitally so you're a part of the crowd. I don't know, like there's a million ways they could move forward with it, but again, you're right, Terry. They did prove last season you don't need fans. You don't need fans in the stadium. Is it a better atmosphere? Absolutely. But, you know, if they got to make a decision where they have to protect everybody by making one uniform decision, well, you know what? That's going to piss off half the people, but that's like the story of this country. You make a decision, 50% of the people are going to like you for it, 50% aren't going to like you for it, and you just got to live with that, and you hope that that decision going forward is the best decision.
Right. But selfishly, I just wish people would just get their vaccinations, because you're taking away my football, you're taking away my basketball, you're taking away my hockey. So, yeah, that's selfish. I admit that. But I want a normal life. I love the way life was in 2017, 2005, 1999, 1980. Loved life then, because I can just go do what I felt like doing. If I had the money, I'd go do something. If I didn't, just watch it at home. So that I want to return my life to the way it used to be.
I think we'll get there eventually. Again, I think there's got to be like a shift in how we perceive and communicate with each other. If it's just I'm right, you're wrong, I don't think we're going to get far in convincing people, a majority of people, to get their vaccines. I think whether it's you believe it's misinformation or you believe it doesn't work, it does work. I mean, I'm not a biologist. All I know is that data proves when you get the vaccine, it's not lethal. So that means you can go out, get the virus, but you're going to be cool. You're going to live. You're just going to be down for a few days, which means that everybody else can enjoy their football. So, again, vaccine is preference, but at the same time, it kind of isn't. It's also a selfish choice for the people that get it and don't get it. So, again, it's a complicated situation. Kennedy, how do you feel about this?
I mean, I'm vaccinated, so, and I have no problem, like, with people knowing that. So I just, you know, did my part. You hope people do the same. I would love to be in the seats during the football season. So, but I think no matter what, there's going to be people that get creative with it. I already know people with, like, fake vaccine cards, and that makes me feel weird, honestly. But when I went to that party downtown, I showed them the picture of my vaccination card on my phone, and I mean, it was like the quickest glance, and they were like, okay, like it could have said anybody's name on there. It could have been the fakest card ever, especially when it's not like a tangible card that you even have to show. When it's a picture, I mean, really, what are they going to do? So I think people are going to keep getting fake vaccine cards and lying.
No, that's true. But you have to understand that guy looking at your card is probably making $9 an hour. He doesn't like his job.
I mean, but the people at Ford Field are going to be the same way.
Of course.
So.
It's like guys who are banned for life from football stadiums or basketball courts. Do they really scan them so much where they're like, hey, wait a minute, you're banned for life. You can't come in here. No, they let them all in. And that's going to be the same way with the Vax card.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that you admitted that you're vaccinated, you know what you're going to hear from? at least one anti-vaxxer who's going to say you're a dumbass.
That's okay.
Yep. Now they're tracking you. They're tracking your every movement.
Right. They're tracking me on my phone, so it doesn't matter if they inject it.
I don't do
Soon
anything.
you're gonna
This
die
is your
because
chip
they're pumping something
that they
in you.
quote unquote put inside of you. Because you take this and look up athletic socks. Well, guess what? Every athletic socks company in the nation is going to say, hey, let me get on T's phone. Let me get on Kennedy's phone or whatever. So this is your chip right here. And I always say this. Why does the government care where you are? You're nameless. You're faceless. You mean nothing. And I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about people out there who claim they're after me. In the grand scheme of things, you are a nobody. You are one of 330 million people.
Yeah, they don't give a
Why
shit.
do they care where you are and what you're doing? They don't.
They only care if you're up to bad stuff. But I mean, even then, like, how ignorant do you have to be to think like they're like when you vote for a president, the odds of them actually changing your day-to-day outcome, your day-to-day life, is marginal at best. Like, you're in control of your life every single day. You make the decisions that'll benefit or not benefit your life. And the same applies with taking a vaccine or not taking it. Like, it's your decision. But again, like, you decide what information you want to accept. If you're not comfortable or you have this perception, like, go see a doctor. Like, go see somebody who's actually studied the vaccine at least before you make that decision. Don't listen to Art on Twitter complaining about it. Then you really deserve to be called a dumbass. So
yeah, talk to someone wearing a lab coat.
Yeah.
Not one on the street though, because I've seen a couple of those people that just walk around wearing lab coats just for shits and giggles. So
Really? Is that a thing?
yeah,
That's weird.
you haven't seen anybody walking around in a hazmat suit?
No.
Where were you during COVID?
In my house,
Well,
most
that's
likely.
your problem. Well, I was out golfing during COVID, so.
Did you see anyone with a hazmat suit on the golf course?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
That's
Swear.
dangerous.
They wouldn't let you ride carts once like COVID was like at its peak, you weren't allowed to ride carts. There was a 2-hole gap between people, so like if I was to start on 1, I'd have to get to 3 before 1 could tee off. So there was no possibility of him catching up walking. It's the funniest stuff ever. Great times though. I miss people not being out there. I golfed in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 18 holes. Like I had no problem getting out there, and
you could probably play the hole twice.
I could play like 72 holes probably in like 10 hours that day. It was empty. It was empty, but it's a good time. When we get back from the break, Kennedy, we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers' drama situation out in Green Bay. Not so much that it's going to affect them going into week 1, but how are the Green Bay Packers going to look come the end of the season based on certain outcomes, and also how does that affect the Lions rebuild? We'll talk about that next, right after the break.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With historically low interest rates and 5-star service, you could pay your mortgage off faster without increasing your monthly payment. Get started now at 248-308-5000 or chat with us online. Call hallfirst.com.
Morning, Art. Morning, D-Mac.
Welcome back, everyone. So, unfortunately, Rodgers did not want to be the permanent host of Jeopardy, so we got to deal with him a little bit longer. It sounds like he's going to see out his contract. I think he's got, and correct me if I'm wrong, 3 years left on a 4-year contract?
2 years left.
2 years left?
Yep. They changed his contract so he can walk away free at the end of next season.
So he had a 4-year extension, and it...
Yep, they scaled his extension back, basically.
Okay.
He doesn't want to be there long term.
Gotcha. So he signed it midway through training camp in 2018. But how will Rodgers being in the NFC North affect the Lions' rebuild for now?
Well, short term, it doesn't matter because the Lions are going to be bad. So we don't have to worry about that. Aaron Rodgers probably competing for the division this year again. So you don't have to worry about that. Packers are going to be good. I think the conversation here really is like, is Aaron going to walk Terry at the end of the year if they accomplish anything? So if they get to the Super Bowl, but they lose, does he walk or come back for the next year? Because he can ask for a trade midway into the year or even after the season, and they still could not deliver it to him. Like, they're in control until the end of next season. And he's going to be 39.
Yeah, the other thing is the NFL the teams control the players. They basically tell you what to do. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the next 2 years. Now, how does this affect the Lions' rebuild? It doesn't at all. And I'll tell you why. The Green Bay Packers were good in the 60s. The Green Bay Packers were good in the 80s. The Green Bay Packers were good under Brett Favre. The Green Bay Packers are good under Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers will be good after he leaves. They know how to be a better team than the Detroit Lions.
Terry, what happens when the Lions go on a 2-year, 3-year stretch where they just go back-to-back or back-to-back-to-back losing seasons? They usually continue the streak, or they win like 8 games, 9 games, and everybody here's throwing a parade. What do the Packers do when, in a 3-year stretch, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt twice, so it kind of derails their seasons? 3 straight losing seasons. McCarthy gets canned. They bring in a new coach. Year 1, what do they do, Terry? NFC Championship game. Year 2, what do they do? NFC Championship game. They know how to turn around their team when they're bad. They don't sit there and sulk and how bad they are and oh my God and this and that and the coach is bad. They even stuck with McCarthy longer than they had to, and they bring in the right guy, and here you go, 26-6 over the last 2 years. Like, the Packers are going to be fine.
And
even
you got a
after
young
Aaron
guy.
Rodgers. And you
He's
got
a
Jordan
young
Love, who
guy.
actually looked good in his first preseason game. I was kind of impressed. I'm not saying he's going to be the second coming of Aaron Rodgers, but you know what? If the Green Bay Packers do anything correct, it's spot talent and build their roster. They know what they're doing. So if Aaron walks at the end of the season, it doesn't change much because the Lions are still 2 to 3 years out from being very good. Now, could they win 8 games next year? 9 games? Sure. But, I mean, what does that do? Wow, what does that do? You want the Lions to be in a situation where they're able to win in a 5-year stretch. They're able to win 2 to 3 double-digit win seasons, where one of them, there are probably 12 wins. They got the division, 2 division titles in a 5-year stretch. They won a few playoff games. They put themselves in a position to go to the Super Bowl. Like, I can hate on Aaron Rodgers for being 1-5 or 1-4, I believe. No, 1-5. 1-5 in NFC Championship games. I can hate on him. And he's actually played like shit in all the NFC Championship games he's played in. But the point is, at least they're putting themselves in a position as an organization where they're respected. This is a team that won 2 playoff games last year. This is a team, well, I'm sorry, 1 playoff game last year, but they win. Every time they get to the playoffs, they're probably winning a playoff game. That's more than what the Lions can say. Like, again, standards, expectations, like, raise them up a little bit.
Right.
I don't want to just win 10 games and sneak into the wild card. And anything can happen, Adam. When you get to the wild card game, anything can happen. No. Anything can happen when you put together a good roster and over 3-4 years, you're good. Look at Seattle. Legion of Boom. They had a really good defense. They capitalized on it. They had Russell Wilson on a rookie contract. They brought in free agents, Doug Baldwin. And they built a good team, and there you go, 2 Super Bowl appearances. They ended up winning 1 of them. And I believe 3 NFC Championship appearances in that stretch. Look at the 49ers under Jim Harbaugh. Same thing. Even under Kyle Shanahan. Same thing. You can be bad for a year or 2, but good organizations and good head coaches figure it out. Aaron Rodgers leaving doesn't change shit for the Lions. They're still the Lions, and until they get their shit together and they prove they can win 11, 12, 13 games and win the division instead of choking it away after starting, 7-2 and then 6-2 and winning 1 of 7. Sorry. I'm not going to change my mind.
Listen to what players say on the Lions in Green Bay. Green Bay Packer players say, not making it to the Super Bowl is not good enough. Lion players say, you know what? We're capable of winning games every week. So they're still talking about trying to win games. Green Bay Packer players talking about, oh, we didn't win a championship? That's not good enough. And the other thing that annoys me about the Lions is when you hear coaches, management, and ownership talk, they don't talk about becoming a championship organization. They talk about, well, we want to be a winning organization. In other words, 9-7 is good enough.
Yeah, basically what Terry said. Like, where's the head coach that walks in and says, I'm here to build a Super Bowl contender in my time here? Where's that head coach? Where's that GM? They're too scared. Why? Because fans, like everybody at home, sit and mope and complain, but you know they'll cry over Jim Caldwell. He was the best we ever had. 9-7, 7-9, and then 9-7, and you know.
But you know why they don't say that? They don't have to. This fan base, if the Lions do finish 10-7, and they get their asses kicked in the first round of the playoffs, man, people gonna be like, yeah, like seals. This is wonderful. We're on our way.
Spot on. That's
my
the problem.
Lions, my Lions. Hey.
We proved you wrong. We proved we could just, you know, win 10 games and lose in the playoffs. We're good.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. We're again, expectations. Green Bay Packers fans have been to back-to-back NFC Championship games, and they're mad. Imagine having the luxury to be upset about 2 NFC Championship games in 2 years. Haven't gotten to one in God knows how long, Terry.
Or I forget what the scenario was, but the Lions won some meaningless game against the Washington.
Atlanta. It was Atlanta, I believe.
Was that the one where the guy jumped into the fountain downtown? Or people jumped in the fountain? They were so happy.
Yes, I believe it was Atlanta because Todd Gurley had fouled. He stopped short. The Lions went on to win the game, and then it gave the team
yeah, that
hope.
was it.
They were 2-3.
People, I mean,
they were 2-3, and that meant like, oh shit,
downtown.
We're back.
Was on fire. Because what Lion fans do is they look at a game that they win to go 2-3, and they look down the schedule and say, you know what? We can win the next 6. So we're 8-3 now, even though they're 2-3.
Terry, I mean, this is my frustration with everybody at home. I'm not sitting here saying the Lions won't be good. They have so much potential right now. I think they're doing things in a very good way. I love that they cut the 40-year-old long snapper. I didn't love that they thought he was an all-time great, but the problem is he's been a servant for so long that you can't kind of come out with a statement other than that. So, you know, I don't like that false I don't like that kind of communication. He's not all-time great. If he's an all-time great, then I deserve any number of my choosing retired in the rafters for the shit I've had to deal with being a Lions fan for the last 27 years.
So, Adam, you got into it a little bit. You said that Packers fans are upset with just going to the NFC North Championship, whatever. Wish it were me. But, so with that being said, do you think Rodgers' career as a whole has been a bust, or do you think it's been successful?
I think it's been a disappointment. I think he's been a very good regular season quarterback, multiple MVPs. He's one of the all-time best, top 5 quarterback.
Can't say bust, but when you are great during the regular season, the expectations change in the playoffs, and it's like, okay, you got 1 Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers. We have called you a GOAT outside of Tom Brady. You should at least have 2 rings.
Tom Brady, prior to him winning.
But that's right. People called him a GOAT over Tom Brady. Well, you should have at least 2 or 3 rings. You only got 1.
Before we can even talk, I mean, he's been to 6 NFC Championship games. He's only won 1, which was his first appearance. He's lost 5 straight. You want to know how many touchdowns and interceptions he has in those 6 games? 6 games.
Love to hear this.
9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Sounds like a Lions
in his
quarterback.
NFC Championship games. Keep in mind, he went 3 touchdowns, 1 interception last year against the Bucs. He had a really good game last year. But look at the rest of his career. Why is he's not a GOAT? He's like, you know, he's a baby GOAT. He's like, he could have been there, but he didn't deliver enough. And fun fact, and I'll always say it, 0-34 heading into the 4th quarter when they're down against winning teams. Tells me everything I need to know about the guy. He has so many great things about him, but he's missing the 2-3
That's
little.
a little bit of an archaic stat, though.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
0-34,
heading
trailing
into
in the fourth quarter against winning teams. That to me,
embarrassing.
That to me is a stat you come up with just for me to say I don't like a guy or a guy stunk.
I wish it was a fake stat. I really do. The same way I feel like Stafford 8-67 against winning teams was a fake stat, but he's the best quarterback.
Well, he is. He is.
Technically is. That's like saying Jay Cutler's the best quarterback, or Rex Grossman is the best quarterback the Bears ever had. At least Rex Grossman took him to a Super Bowl. That shit out of here.
Hey, if he was
Jared Goff won a playoff game, Terry. Did you know Jared Goff won a playoff game?
I know that. But you know why? Because he played for a real organization.
Don't say that. Don't you dare. Don't you dare give credit to a team. No. Jared Goff, Terry, won a playoff game. Not only when he went to the Super Bowl, but last season he won a playoff game with a broken thumb, Terry. Not because Cam Akers ran for 134 yards and Aaron Donald is a freaking menace who can take 3 offensive linemen at one time. No. It's Jared Goff won them.
So it's going to happen here.
It's going to happen here. 3 Super Bowls, 2 league MVPs. Book it.
Sure is.
And Aaron Donald's coming here this year, right?
Aaron Donald couldn't fix the problems we have in Detroit. Like, it's just, team's rebuilding. Enjoy it. Regarding Aaron Rodgers, I think he's been a disappointment. Sorry. He's been to the game. He reminds me a lot of Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger. So many AFC championship appearances. But, you know, Ben benefited from being on really good teams early on, so he got to a few Super Bowls and won a few, but he kept losing to Brady in the AFC championship games. Look at Phillip Rivers, 13-3, 14-2 Charger teams that were so much better than those Patriot teams. Still lost to him. Divisional round. Bye-bye. AFC championship game. Bye-bye. This is the story of Aaron Rodgers. Yet we goat him and knight him. Why? I don't understand. Is he one of the greats? Sure. But he's not the best. He doesn't deserve to be even in the conversation because of where Brady and the Montana are right now. He doesn't deserve to be. Is he the greatest thrower of the football? Probably.
Yeah, but a lot of people
probably
assess or determine their GOATs just based on the regular season. They don't look at the playoffs.
Look at this shit. Goff is 3-0 with 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions versus Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Brady in the regular season. Okay. He played with, again, Sean McVay in the Los Angeles Rams, a very good team. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Todd Gurley, prime Todd Gurley run game, a great offensive line at the time. Again, you surround Jared Goff with that, he can be a good quarterback. Not a league MVP, and definitely not a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Oh, and he put up 3 points in the Super Bowl. But then again, you know, it's not Jared's fault. It's just Sean McVay's fault. It's just the offensive line's fault. It's just the receiver's fault. It's not Jared Goff.
And the coaching staff gave up on him.
You can't pick and choose stats when it comes to players like that. They didn't accomplish anything. Trent Dilfer has won a Super Bowl. Why don't we just go sign Trent Dilfer at this point, if that's what we're going to say? Eli Manning. Go get Eli Manning. Convince him to come out of retirement. He's beaten Brady twice in the Super Bowl, undefeated. He's the GOAT. Eli Manning's the best player to ever play in the NFL. Go get him.
Bam.
Go get him.
And he did it in New York.
If that's how we're gonna, if that's our perception of things, we deserve to be another 60 years of shit. And that's just the truth. I'm sorry.
Or we could
and
go.
That's how we're gonna think.
The ultimate team game is football.
Mm.
And when you don't get the quarterback position right, you can't win. And the Lions actually got it right by drafting Stafford. He was the only good player that draft. They did a good thing.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Even when they put good pieces around him, he couldn't deliver. And that's why I always call him Kirk Cousins with a better arm and a little better looking. That's it. That's all Stafford is. He's Kirk Cousins with a better arm. But Kirk Cousins has a playoff win. So, you know, that means he's a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford as well. I mean, this argument sucks.
But
I hate
once again, they didn't have to play for the Lions. The biggest detriment to Matthew Stafford is he was the quarterback of the Detroit Lions. If he had played in any other team in the division, he'd have multiple playoff victories.
Replace Jared Goff's first 5 seasons with the Rams, swap him and Stafford, put Goff in Detroit, and put Stafford in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, I'll let you guys debate on what you think happens. I'll tell you what happens in Detroit. They probably finished 0-16 twice in that 5-year stretch. Easily.
Jeez.
Easily.
Well,
Easily.
maybe 4-12.
Excuse me, that's... You put Stafford on those good teams. Again, like, we're going to see what Stafford. Is he the real deal? Was it the Lions or was it Stafford? You're going to find out in the next 2 seasons. So when he goes to LA and they win 11-12 games this year, and keep in mind they're in, like, literally the hardest division in football, if he walks out as division champs, that alone is more of an accomplishment than he did anything in Detroit. And it was against harder opponents.
Yeah.
When the Lions were good, the Bears were down. The Packers had Aaron Rodgers injured for a majority of the season. The Vikings are the Vikings. Bears are the Bears. They still couldn't win the division.
So then why do you think Matthew Stafford has the ability to even become the real deal.
Because he's a very good quarterback.
But he's had
who's
a
in a
stacked
very good
team here
situation. And
at
when you
one
have
point.
very good, and you merge the two, it has potential to be great and special. Sean McVay is a very good head coach. Jared Goff. Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback. Like, he's not great. He's proven he can't be great up to this point, especially with the Lions. That's a roadblock in and of itself. But he's now in LA. They're accustomed to winning. They're accustomed to putting good teams around them. What's the comment now? What is it? Goff beat Dallas in the playoffs. Great. Goff had Todd
I thought
Gurley.
everybody beat Dallas in the playoffs.
Yeah, who hasn't beaten Dallas in the last 25 years?
Dallas is not good. They haven't been good in a while.
Dallas is basically a better version of Detroit Lions. Yes, because the Lions never had a #1 defense in the division. You know when Jared... Oh, my God. And best receiver in the NFL when Stafford was here. Wait. Thank you. Like, they didn't have a top 5 defense under Stafford. Like, they didn't have Calvin Johnson, Nate Burleson, Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay. Guy's been loaded all his career. You can complain about the defense all you want. When he had a top 5 defense, they balled out in the first round. Goodbye. Wild card every single year. They go by. Bye. 0-3. Stafford's performance, all downhill as the team went downhill. Like,
but once
Stafford,
again, I will say this until I turn blue in the face. The last 60 years, there's only one man walking the face of the earth who played quarterback who has a playoff win for the Detroit Lions. There is something wrong with the culture. There's something wrong in the brew.
Look, we can point to Stafford all we want, and I'm a huge critic of Stafford. But again, he's got the best coach he's ever had, the best organization he's ever had, the best group of players around him, arguably, he's ever had. The guy's in a situation to win. He just is. So whether you like it or not, he more than likely could deliver. If he just wins a division, that's more than what he did in 13 years here. What does that tell you about the Lions? What does that tell you, Terry?
What I've always
Adam,
believed, it's
Stafford's job.
one of the worst organizations
I just
in all
told you
of pro
he's
sports.
8-64. What is wrong with people? People are idiots. Honestly, they deserve to be called idiots.
Bruh, one of the worst organizations in all of pro sports. Name me a worse organization than the Detroit Lions over the last 50, 60 years.
I can't.
You could say Cleveland.
Nope. They've been to AFC Championship games in 6 years.
That is true, but people like to say Cleveland.
Can't say the Jets. They've been to 2 AFC Championship games in the last 15 years. Next. Nobody.
And it won a Super Bowl.
There is only one. There is only one Detroit Lions franchise. There's only one team in the NFL that could be that shit for so long, and it's the Detroit Lions. So, I'm sorry. That's just the truth. Like, I wish I was lying. Believe me. I would love nothing more from the Lions.
No, but I'm opening up for all pro sports. You can make a case for the Sacramento Queens.
Hell, at least they got to a Western Conference final.
They did, and so did the Lions. In 1981, they made it. Got their asses kicked, but they made it.
You can't even call them a team in 81 for that shit. No, you get blown out. 3 points they put up, right?
Yeah, they were clown. And I was at that game.
Well, there you go.
And all I remember, I went to bed that night hearing, "We are the Redskins, do 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 do," because they got that stupid band. They played that song the whole game, every time they scored, and that's all I could remember that night.
I don't know. We'll leave it there. When we come back from the break, we got to talk about Dan Campbell, and not just his future here in Detroit, but his.
Are you really running him out of town?
Kinda.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that right after the break.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone. We already know that Adam is an MCDC hater. I personally love him. I watched his mic'd up video the other day. He seems to get along really well with his players. He gives them a lot of positive affirmation, which I love. He's really hands-on with the guys, and so I'm a fan of his coaching style personally. That being said, his persona is very, very large, especially when he's talking to the media. So do you guys think it's an act? Do you think he'll keep it up all season long?
Kennedy, let me ask you something.
What?
Okay. You just said Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is such a cool guy. The way he teaches people, the way he hypes them up. I want a guy that, like, why do I care?
With that?
What's wrong with that is it doesn't matter if he doesn't win at the end of his term here. So his antics are only going to last so long. I want to see Dan Campbell walk up to a press conference week 9, week 10, when they're 2-8, 1-9, whatever it may be. Hell, 3-7. I want to see him give me the Starbucks order that he was doing in training camp. I want to see if he's going to be that positive when he gets through the season. And do I think he can be? Yes. Do I think he can be very good? I think Dan Campbell is set up for success here, given the way the organization is trending. I like what they did in the offseason. I really do. I think if they draft a quarterback next year, they're going to be even happier. And then they can move on from Jared Goff after another year after that, open up some salary cap space. I think they're in the right direction, but people, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to critique or criticize Dan Campbell for how he acts. I just think you really need to, like, chill out a little bit, especially everybody at home. Like,
you're not going to be able to chill out. I'm going to predict the future with you.
All right.
Dan Campbell right now, he's a cool guy. He's a meathead. But at some point, Dan Campbell is going to be 3-9 or 5-10, and the public is going to look at this act and say, this guy can't coach.
And he's just talking all this hype to overshadow.
He's screaming about kneecaps and everything, but his team are getting their kneecaps knocked from underneath them. So that's going to be the test.
But that's the dangerous part, right?
Well, it is dangerous.
What Schwartz was.
But Schwartz was a guy that when he melted down, the whole team melted down. Because they're all behind coach. His coach, he's rah, rah, rah. But then he'd get pissed off, and the whole team would go, damn, even coaches screwed up. So then they would fall down. But the challenge is on us as observers. The Lions are going to lose this season. Now, what we need to do is be smart enough to say, okay, are they losing for the same reasons that they did before? Dumb penalties, horrible play? Or are they losing by giving great effort and they just lost today because they don't have enough talent? So we need to look at games individually and determine how this team lost this game. And also, do you see something within that game that leads you to believe, okay, I see something in the future that's going to be good. So it's going to be a real challenge for us as observers of this team this year.
You need to be able to watch the Detroit Lions this year and see, oh, wow, like, that pass rush could be something in a year. They just need one more piece. Or that secondary. Or, you know what, wow, our linebacking core actually improved. And we're just, an outside linebacker away or maybe a middle linebacker away. Like, that's what you're looking for. I mean,
and I know you disagree with this, or that quarterback, Jared Goff, played well enough for me not to have to draft a quarterback next year, because then we're weak in linebackers, so I can draft the baddest ass linebacker I can.
I still think they draft a quarterback in the next 2. It doesn't have to be the next year. Could be the year after. But Jared Goff, you're paying him $35 million a year. You can't build a roster when your salary cap is basically cut in half because you're paying your quarterback.
That part is true.
And you're not paying Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes' money. So I'm sorry, I'm not getting Patrick Mahomes' production. I'm not getting Patrick Mahomes as a leader from Jared Goff. I'm just getting a guy who was like Kirk Cousins. I love using Kirk Cousins as an example because there's so many of them, like guys that can produce in the league, but they're not special. You want special. You're not going to win. Look how special Aaron Rodgers is. And the Packers have only delivered 1 Super Bowl. You think you're going to get by winning with Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff? Hell, even Matthew Stafford? You know what you have to do to build a winning team? around those guys, they need help. They need help. So, again, I don't want to be the guy that says when the Lions are 3-10, Dan Campbell, no, like I expect them to be bad. I do. And when they're finished the season 5-11, oh, I'm not 5-11, 5-12, 4-13, I'm going to sit up here and say, it's a good year. I saw some really good things. He didn't line up 9 men on the field, even though he fucking did it in the preseason game. So I'm just going to hold my tongue there. Lucky they called a timeout. Well, the Bills did, actually. But regardless, I want to see 11 guys on the field. I want to see Okudah improve. I want to see the O-line improve. I want to see us run the ball pretty well. I want to see us hit third down, have a good third down conversion rate. I want to see us avoid putting Goff in 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 14. That would be nice. Like, I want to take positives away from the season.
And how about this? Not have games where you have 10 penalties for 150 yards or something.
How about have
like
less
that?
penalties, not even the yard total. How about have more penalties than you have points? Or have more points than you have penalties. You had more penalties against the Panthers last year than you did points.
Okay, so I guess this would be my follow-up question. So say we lose, you can see improvements, but we still lost to whoever. Doesn't matter. What do you guys want Dan Campbell to say? As a coach, I feel that you can't sit up there and be like, well, we're actually improving, but we don't actually have the talent on this team. You can't say that about your players. I want him to sit up there and say,
you know what? I'm doing we're feeling really good about this team. The guys are starting to pick up on the little things we're trying to coach them up on. This isn't something we can change overnight, but we really expect to improve year to year. You can't see improvements if you're already blinded by the bias of Lions being bad. It's not bias, it's the reality, man. Anyways, Adham and Jalen Green are going.
Say, you may not be able to see it, but
That's
there's
a great
improvement on this team. You know, it's coming. It's coming. And him telling the truth when he says that. That's what I want to see.
I want Dan Campbell walking up there, like Terry said, and saying the truth. You know what? We're a 4-13 football team next year, but you know what? I'm not here to go 4-13, 5-11, 6-12, 6-11. I'm not here for steady improvement. No. We're gonna win 4. We won 4 this year. Damn it, we're going for 8 next year. And all right, we finish with 7 next year. Cool. We're going for 11, 12 next year. And then you win 10, 11, and you're a playoff team. And then you try to win the division. That's the growth. That's the growth part that you got to just accept with this team. They're not gonna be good this year. They probably will be more. They'll be more, eye appealing year 2 under Dan Campbell. But again, Tyrell Williams at wide receiver, Cephas. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown we all like, but that's what we're relying on. He's not putting up Justin Jefferson number 01. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's a slot receiver. So, I mean, this idea that Jared Goff is even capable of playing really well is beyond his value. He could throw 26 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, and that is not worth $35 million. I can go get that out of a rookie with a little more turnovers. Today, every quarterback coming out of college can play in the NFL. It just depends on the situation they land in. Are they mentally strong enough to handle adversity? And Jared Goff is a good bridge quarterback. I think he'll do a very good job the next 2 years for the team, but he ain't the future. And that's as simple as it can be. And again, Dan Campbell's got to keep up this energy, Terry. He can't stop it come week 15. They're 2-13, and he's like, yeah, we're taking it one game at a time right now. We're gonna try to improve.
Well,
on
actually,
the
the energy thing is overrated. He can't be this energetic in front of his players all the time.
He needs to be a dick. He needs to.
You need to switch things up. Yeah, high energy today. I'm a little more calm this day. I'm teaching this day. So you got to give them different looks, sort of like a Major League Baseball pitcher. You don't give them the fastball every time because then they're going to start hitting it out the park. Dan Campbell's the same way with his players. He's got to tone it down in front of his players, or not as enthused or enraged or ridiculous as he is in press conferences and in front of the public.
I mean, again, it's about being realistic, right? So, look, all of you in the chat, everybody supports the Lions. Nobody up here is not rooting for them. But come on, you really think this team? Stafford's gone, Galladay gone, Jones. I don't want to go through the list again. I'm so tired of saying it. They got worse. They drafted Penei Sewell. They went D-line twice before they ever addressed an offensive skilled position. Then they went and got St. Brown. Like, guys, they need time to build. So you can sit up here and say we're crying or complaining about the Lions and they are gonna be bad. Sorry, it's like a reality. They're not gonna be one of those teams that just magically jumps from a 5-11 season to 12-5. They're not capable of it. You usually see that when you carry over the same roster, you add a few pieces, but you brought in a new coach and he inspires the locker room, like you saw with, I don't know, Jim Caldwell. Remember he took over for Jim Schwartz. What they finished there, 6-11? Or I'm sorry, 6-10. They went from 6-10 to 11-5. You can do that in the NFL when you keep the same core roster and you add a few good pieces and you get the head coach right.
But
they did none of that.
At no point during that did I think this was a title contender, even when they were 11-5. But I think the future is bright for this team because I have faith in Brad Holmes. I think the organization is better than it's ever been under old Daddy Ford and Mama Ford. So those two factors right there will lead you to believe, you know what? Something can happen here with the Detroit Lions. Something.
I think something will happen. I think they're onto something. It's just not this year. And it's probably not the next year, but that's okay. Because if you're a Lions fan, you're like, all right, I'm seeing the improvement. I see where we're going. Oh, wow, we took a quarterback round 1. Wow, we're going to sit him for year 1 under Goff, and then Goff's going to go away. That's going to free up $30 million in our cap space. We can go get 2-3 veterans who are really good. Like, yeah, you're going to have a good football team in a few years. Just not this year. And it's okay. And then you can be mad about Stafford all you want. But guy's in a better situation. He just is. So, yeah. Do I think he wasn't all that in Detroit? Yeah, I don't think he was all that. I think he cost the team a lot of games with his poor decision-making late, especially late in games, and he never performed well against winning teams. The stats can all back it up. But you know what? He is in a better situation. He has a better head coach. He has a better supporting staff. So just on the common sense test, he'll obviously play better with the Rams if healthy. It's just that simple. When we get back, it's Fish's Facts. And I'm kind of curious because he kind of teased me on one of them, and I don't know. I'm going to prepare myself for this, Terry. You can prepare too, but
should be exciting.
We got Fish's Facts coming up right after the break.
Would you like to win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time?
Then watch as we turn this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
Watch the Call Sam Chopper Shop on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Is it time? Yeah, it is. Fish!
Go fish.
Fish Facts.
It's fish!
Oh boy. Today is Wednesday. I almost thought it was Thursday for some reason. I don't know why. I wish it was Thursday. But tomorrow's... Yeah, you guys don't care. Today, we have a video/picture today. The NHL, by the way, decided yesterday that they're going to have ads on their jerseys for 22-23 season, 2022-23 season. So in honor of that, we have some jerseys for social media companies. So you could pick if you like any of these jerseys. That's Instagram, there's TikTok. They have all of them, Facebook, Reddit, just a few of them. So
Snapchat's not bad.
So those are some jerseys in honor of...
Spotify? No, it's ugly as hell.
It kind of looks like Woodward Sports.
Snapchat and TikTok so far have been the best ones.
That one kind of looks like Woodward Sports. You don't like it?
No, that looks nothing like Woodward Sports. Could you put the Spotify one back up? That looks like they have the king's crown at the top.
Well, I'm talking about the green. I'm talking about the green and the black.
That is light green. Woodward Sports is a darker green. Fish. Get your palette right.
I will try to. Speaking of palette, the Baltimore Orioles did not get their palette right. They have a negative 87 run differential, which is not good. This is baseball, by the way. Not basketball or football where you would get these bad differentials. They have an 18-game losing skid. Worst mark by any 13-game span since 1900, at least 1900s. That is not very good. You know what is good? The Yankees. Louis Gill, first pitcher in history to allow 0 earned runs in 3 straight starts to begin an MLB career. So he's looking good. You want to know who else is looking good or really good pitcher? Adam, have you ever had a long at-bat? What's your longest at-bat that you've had for softball?
My longest at-bat in softball was like maybe 4 pitches.
Okay. Well,
in softball, it doesn't happen. But in baseball, I mean, I've gotten probably like 16, 17 attempts before I finally struck out.
Well, you should have called Guinness Book of World Records because Eli Morgan had a 16 pitch at bat yesterday. Pitched a 16 pitch at bat. Most pitches in a plate appearance by a Twins pitcher since the counts have been tracked in 1988.
Yeah, I've seen at bats go 25, 30 before. So I mean, even that's not that impressive. Only 16, but it's mentally draining for both the pitcher and the hitter.
It definitely is. Speaking of definitely is, it is the 18th of 18th of August. Hank Aaron loses a home run because he hit it out of the batter's box. 1965. That kind of sucks. We have seen home runs.
He should have been in the box.
We have seen home runs that have been not counted because either players don't touch the base.
That's his fault.
Or hit it out of the batter's box. Well, 1965.
That
maybe
should
the
be
batter's
Fish's
box
dumbass
was,
of the day, not Fish's fact.
Maybe 1965 they had a smaller batter's box. I don't know. Maz would be able to tell you. He was alive back then.
Maz was alive for everything, Fish.
1982, longest baseball game at Wrigley Field in Chicago ends after 22 innings. Have you guys been to a long baseball game? Do you stay the whole game?
The longest game I've ever been to was the Detroit Tigers' 14 innings.
And you stayed the whole game?
They lost. It was a very frustrating.
But did you stay the whole game?
I stayed the whole game. Yep.
Good for you. Terry, did you stay? Do you have a long game?
I usually leave because I got things to do.
Oh, okay. Well, that's sad. We got birthdays today. This guy was a Lions quarterback, Dan Orlowski. Adam, you have any comments on Dan Orlowski?
Yeah, Dan Orlowski is another example of how horrible the Lions organization was at the time. The guy was brought in, second round pick, just set up to fail. Ran out of the end zone. Joey Harrington set up to fail. He still gets ripped on to this day. So,
when I think of Dan Orlowski, all I think about is 13 steps in the end zone, in the back of the end zone.
Jared Allen's his whole wicked celebration, whatever the hell it is.
Look at that! Look at that! He's out of bounds.
By the way, Dan Orlowski has high expectations for the Lions. Maybe you could take a page out of his book. It's also Roberto Clemente's birthday.
I would die before I took a page out of Dan Orlowski's book. One, I don't need to run out of the end zone, and two, I don't want to be mean to people. Why are we doing this, Fish? Continue.
Well, what if Lions go 10-7, which they're going to, and then they go to LA twice?
Fish, honestly, that might cost you your job. You talk about 10-7. You keep this up. You keep this up. If you keep it up till week 5, I'd be impressed. But you might not work here.
Okay. Well, I'll still keep it up.
You are lying to people, Fish. We're not a false information
Corey's
network.
Facts or something like that.
Hi, it's Corey Woods. Is that Corey Woods?
That's right. He does. He's when he gets excited. Hi, hey, you know what the Lions are gonna do today? They're cutting Don Muhlbach. He does get high pitched Corey when he gets excited.
Or mad, one of the two.
It's also Roberto Clemente's birthday today, so happy birthday to him.
Who cares about him?
And, cool. Those are the facts. We're gonna go into Thursday smiley and happy. Hopefully you'll be happy, Adam.
Yeah, I'll try to be. We'll see.
Okay, cool.
I appreciate it, Fish. That was Fish's facts. Terry, before we get out of here, IHOP is gonna start serving alcohol.
Yeah, I heard that.
What the? What?
I for the life of me can't figure out if I go to IHOP and order pancakes, what drink goes with pancakes?
Mimosas. There's a drink for every occasion. I will assure you.
So you have to have mimosas if you go to IHOP.
Well, what if I get an omelet?
Yeah. Bloody Mary.
What?
No, mimosa.
At 8 in the morning?
Yes. You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
That's alcoholic talking.
All right, so we'll be back. We're gonna get Kennedy blood tested and see how she's doing. I don't know what I'd eat with my French toast, my pancakes, whatever I'd get.
It's gotta be
mimosas or screwdrivers.
I'd rather just have a beer then.
I go to a place for brunch and I have mimosas there.
You know what? I'm gonna step my game up. I'm just gonna drink some rosé with my breakfast.
Or you can put some Kahlua in your coffee, or Bailey's.
Oh,
in your
that's
coffee.
Right. You could do that. See,
Bailey's
she's got it all figured out.
You are a drinker, Kennedy. I was not expecting this. I'm proud of you. Kinda, not really. Terry, I don't know what to do with this IHOP situation. I don't know if I can step foot in another IHOP.
Maybe IHOP is so desperate that you got to do something.
You think if
how many IHOPs are around here?
A lot. I want to say I
only know of one in Metro Detroit. There's one on Jefferson.
There's one on Ford and Telegraph, just off. There's one in Canton, I believe.
Okay.
There's a few.
I missed out on those.
Well, remember that whole thing they tried to do, the burger hop or whatever they ended up calling it? What was that?
Yeah, that was like a 1 week PR.
Yeah, that was a limited edition.
That was a 1 week PR.
IHOB.
I don't know. That made me feel insane. So I'm not surprised they're trying something new.
Well,
Maybe
thank you
in
guys.
desperation mode.
Thank all of you for joining us today on the Morning Woodward Show. We really appreciate it, Terry.
Yes,
that was fun, man.
Fun being here with you.
That was fun. Terry and I will be back tomorrow. We'll be live actually broadcasting, so it'll be a little fun. Change of scene tomorrow. Kennedy will be with us. Thank you guys again for joining. We'll catch you tomorrow live, 8 a.m. Feel free to tune in today at 11. Join the Big D Energy Show with Darren McCarty, Joy Bell, Neil Rule, as well as Ryan Armani and Braylon Edwards from 2 to 4. It'll be a good show. We'll catch you guys later.
Be good.